All right. Time for OddsJam TV with these guys. This ought to be fun, huh? This is midday Friday pandemonium. Oh, yeah. Brought to you by OddsJam, the premier odds comparison company. Click the links below for the best sports books in your state. And don't forget, fill out the form below in the description to get a personal one-on-one tutorial on how to make $2,500 per month sports betting. Mike, it looks like you're pointing down at Steve.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah. Steve. Don't forget the OddsJam Partner Program. Share that link with your friends. You get 20% of all revenue generated. Very good, Steve.
Yeah, Steve's got that duty now.
Yeah.
He's down at the bottom.
Also, we got a link for the best bet in the Timberwolves and Grizzlies game, but we may have even better bets before this day is over with. All right, how you like that? Huh? Was that beautiful? Live chat is available, folks. Live chat is available.
I just complimented the Spears. Other is.
Feel free to jump in and comment. I will be the mediator here. And we're going to start off with the NBA playoffs. Steve, I'm going to start with you first because I talk to Mike all the time. All right. And I figure I need a different perspective from you. So far, just overall, what you've seen in the NBA playoffs, are you shocked by anything or not?
No, I mean, not really. I guess the shocker was the Mavs beating the Jazz, but I told everybody, in the beginning that was going to happen. I mean, and honestly, I said, bet them 4-1, 20-1. I feel like I was robbing that bet. Truly, they lost the first game by 5, but that was a tie game with a minute left, and they lost one game by 1 point. And then other than that, they just kicked their ass. They covered 5 straight. So no, I mean, I don't think so. I think maybe the Pelicans making that a series, making that 6 was, a little bit unbelievable, but obviously the Booker injury was the reason for that. So no, I guess the other thing, I said it, Mike said it, you said, no, this will be over in 5. This series, the only series left. Grizzlies, T-Wolves, I think a lot of people thought Grizz would run through them, but no, it's just bad. It's a bad matchup for the Grizz, so I'm not surprised. I said
you're not surprised.
Okay. 7.
Mike, anything surprise you so far?
No, so far everything's kind of gone as predicted. Utah shows that they're just not capable. Donovan Mitchell really went MIA a lot in this series, and that's a disappointment for a team that I think had high expectations. And as good as Rudy Gobert is defensively, defensive player of the year, no doubt about it. But you know why he's as good as he is defensively? Because he blocks everyone's shots down low. Everybody has learned that if you bring Rudy Gobert and make him guard you up top along the perimeter, he's not as effective. So Dallas had their way, and that was a good win last night. Money line for the Mavericks. It was a little bit of a scare, but look, Utah chose as always.
Okay.
Game ends on a travel and a missed wide open 3. The Jazz suck.
Yeah.
Let team the fuck up.
Okay. All right. Let me in here. You just jumped me here. All right. First off, let me just tell you. I just want to say this to the people that don't like Doc Rivers as a coach. Shut up. Okay? Doc Rivers can coach, okay? If his players don't play, it's one thing, but they sure as hell played for him last night, didn't they, Steve?
You know what? They did. I did lose that bet. And, Doc Rivers, the reason I bet against him is because Doc has been an absolute choke artist in closeout games. Although, to your point, and this is the only reason why I almost didn't bet it last night, he came out and said, well, it's easy to call me a choke artist in game 7s and closeout games, but look at the situations. And one of those was when he was with, the Magic against I think it was some team that was far overmatched. So he was an 8 seed against a 1 seed. Right. And, so he pretty much overachieved. And then I guess the only true series that he actually choked was, that 3-1 lead in the bubble. But that was the bubble, the bubble.
It was the bubble, right. Exactly. Yeah. You can't compare it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't like Rivers. I think he is a bad coach. I disagree with you there, but I give him credit. The team got up and they did what they had to do.
Now, let the old school guy just say one thing. I watched Doc Rivers play, buddy. He played with Dominique Wilkins, okay? And if you don't think that those two knew a shit ton about basketball, you're friggin' wrong. They both do. You can only do so much with the modern NBA player, okay? When you got a Joel Embiid who's more worried about, oh, am I in the MVP race? Instead of worried about playing a friggin' game, that's when you got problems. Get your ego out of your friggin' ass and play the game. That's what I said.
Yeah, but he had Kawhi and Paul George. Like that was really bad. That team was one of the favorites.
It was a bubble.
I know. No, I do agree there.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about the game tonight, Mike, with the T-Wolves and the Grizz. There was a guy this morning that had a bet. He actually put his bet on the morning coffee show. He was in the comments at 7:13.
Wow.
And he is going with Cat. I like to call him Cat. Some people call him Carl Anthony Towns. I call him Cat. Cat over 3.5 turnovers, Mike. What do you think about that play? You got it for like plus 110 on DraftKings.
Well, I definitely think it's possible. I wish there was a way we could bet on fouls, huh? Because that would be the more likely thing to happen there. Look, with the T-Wolves, guys, they have not been able to close out games. That's been the story for them. And that's one of the reasons that it worries me with these guys, because I feel like they could have very easily, they could be up 3-2 right now themselves, but they're not. And I know people think, well, they're playing with house money right now. They don't have nothing to lose. That is true. But I just feel like they cannot get the job done. They are at home tonight, though. So, yes, I think that this is a favorable spot for them. I just don't know, guys, if I can trust this team enough. And I think that Memphis is going to end up winning this series. And I honestly think there's a good chance that they get it done tonight, even.
I think so, too. But, Steve, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I completely agree with everything. It is a bad matchup for the Grizz, mainly because Jared Jackson, we're talking about fouls on Cat. Jackson can't stay in foul trouble either. But, he fouled out in game 5, and honestly, that was the best thing for them because he can just be so lazy at times and so lethargic, and he clogs up the interior. So, I don't know. Taylor Jenkins, obviously, I'm a Grizz fan. I love this Grizz team. Taylor Jenkins, I'm a little concerned with his rotations, but I agree with Mike. The Grizzlies, let's be honest. They were the far better team all year. You saw it last night. Teams don't want to go to anything can happen in Game 7. They're very motivated to end these series in 6. Both road teams won last night in Game 6. I think the same thing happens here. And, Morant, I was worried he was hurt because he was not playing well through the first few games. But he finally had a great game. He had that absolutely probably dunk of the year. So he's better. Bane, I love Bane. I know Mike does too. Bane's been making a lot of money.
What is that stat that I saw the other night about Morant's points in the paint are he's equivalent to Shaq?
Yeah, it's insane.
That's crazy, guys. He's what, 6'3"?
I know, but the dude can jump over the rim. It's the T-Wolves nice story.
Go ahead.
Sorry. T-Wolves nice story. It was a good, fun series, but yeah, I agree with Mike. I think, the Grizz are motivated to end this tonight, and it's over. So,
yeah.
Hey, I just want to point out real quick on the Grizzlies. I don't think I can remember a time where a number 1 seed, we talk about playing with house money, but for the Grizzlies, they weren't expected to be here at all. The 1 seed, nobody. The sexy pick is the Suns. Even Dallas.
The Suns are the 1 seed. Those are the 2.
But, I feel like Memphis, if they win a couple of series, that's a win for them. They're not expected to be in the NBA Finals. So no matter what, they're getting experience and they're getting, in my opinion, an opportunity to be like, look, I know we're the number 1 overall seed, but nobody expected us to be that. Nobody's really expecting us to be here. So I feel like they've got a little house money to play with too.
All right, I'm going to do something here. I'm going to the Positive EV page here. I'm going to share my screen because there's a few things that are on the Positive EV page that I want to ask you two about, okay? One is Ja Morant, over under 27.5. I put the numbers in the Novig Fair Odds calculator. The number's 121. The play is over or under 27.5. It's actually the under at minus 110. Minus 121 is the fair odds, guys. What do you think of that play?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. Closeout games usually are. So I think probably all the numbers are a little bit high. I do think he goes off. It's probably going to be very close. But yeah, I mean, I think the under is probably the look. 27.5. He's only gone over that one time this entire series. So
all right.
And I think, I mean, look at his rebounds and assists. You know, he's been doing a lot of other things. And I think he realizes, Steve talked about Desmond Bane. He's a big-time player. Ja Morant knows that if he just feeds him for a while, Desmond Bane can carry the load for a little bit, and Ja Morant doesn't have to worry about scoring as much. So that's probably a safe play. But, there again, would we all be shocked if Morant went for 30? Not necessarily. But, yeah, I think that's a pretty safe play, yeah.
Okay, another play here, and this is on turnovers, and you just don't see very many of these in player props, and that's Patrick Beverley, under 1.5 turnovers, plus 120 on BetMGM and Caesars. What do you guys think?
A risky play just for the fact with Beverley, you know how he is. He's the kind of guy that's going to go all out and balls to the wall. And just give it which could cause him to play a little sloppy at times. We saw him foul out. But then again, it's an elimination game. You'd have to assume him being a veteran and understanding what's at stake, that he'll try to secure the ball. So maybe a safe play there, although it's not one I'd particularly love.
Two more plays, Steve. This one to you. Jaren Jackson, over 19.5 player points, rebounds, and assists, which is a very popular way to bet player props. What do you think?
19.5 for points and rebounds
and assists.
I mean, I guess that's right. I mean, you think he's grabbing a ton of boards, but he's really not this series.
Right.
So that must be his average. I would go under that because, like I said, I mean, he's really not a good matchup for this series. And I think, Jenkins has to realize that. And I think, if he limits his minutes, obviously less time on the floor, less chance to accumulate stats. So I would lean the under there. I mean, especially because at first glance, doesn't that seem so easy just to bet the over? I mean,
right. Okay. Yeah. So Mike, the last one's for you. D'Angelo Russell, over 16.5.
16.5.
Player points.
Points. Okay. It looks to me like, the play's on the over, right?
Right. Plays on the over.
I really think that this is a game that's more fit for Anthony Edwards, but then again, I would lean that over.
Okay. All right. I'm going to add it. I'm going to put a half a unit on it. All right.
Just because it is an elimination game, and I feel like everybody's got to step up. All
right. Let me just real quick share the bet tracker and show that I added both of those to my bet tracker right there, both on Caesars. Ja Morant under 27.5 points. D'Angelo Russell over 16.5 points. Let me stop sharing my screen and get back to you guys. That was a Positive EV page in the bet tracker.
I will point out one thing, Bob. Those are two players, Jaren Jackson and D'Angelo Russell. I hate betting any player props on those two guys for reasons like this. They're just so those two are just so inconsistent that
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With
Jackson's
D'Angelo Russell,
been
I felt like, no, I don't think he's going to even get 16.5 points, but it makes sense that he would go over tonight. But he's, like I said, he's so inconsistent that.
Okay, very quickly, Steve, we're going to shift from NBA to NFL here in a second. Need to ask you real quick about the other series that are coming up. Okay. What do you think of this Bucks series coming up?
Yeah, so I'm actually doing a preview on that for OddsJam, so keep an eye out for that. I'll be posting it. But yeah, I mean, I like the Celtics. I bet the Celtics to win the East. I bet the Celtics to win the NBA championship. I mean, this series, I think the win, as far as the series price, they're definitely overpriced now. I think it opened minus 180. Now it's like minus 215. That's way too high. I think you can absolutely wait and get them at a better price at some point during the series. We saw it against the Nets. I mean, they almost lost game one. They should have lost game one. For whatever reason, Boston doesn't really play well in game ones. So my hope is they lose game one, and then you can come back on them to win the series, and then obviously win game two.
Okay.
Although the Bucks haven't been great starters either, but I think it'll be a good series. But I think the Celtics will win in 6.
Okay, so very quickly, I took a BetMGM a team to win it all. I took the Bucks. For every series they win, I get a free bet. So they've won one series. They're winning this series. Sorry, guys. I don't know where you guys think the Celtics are beating the Bucks.
Wow.
Bob, Middleton's not playing, man.
Yeah.
Middleton's not playing.
You're doing so good this entire show, and then you pop off with something ridiculous like that. You're acting like the Celtics. They're one of the best teams, Bob. They just beat the Nets. Like, what are you talking about? The Bucks beat the Bulls. Big deal. And they don't have Middleton.
Who cares if the Nets? They swept the Nets. The Nets were never that good. Never.
Neither were the Bulls.
Ever.
Neither were the Bulls.
Bob, then why didn't you hammer the Celtics series, Bob? It's so easy to talk in hindsight. You can't talk in hindsight.
I'm not going to Hey, hold on. I bet a little differently than you. Not everybody bets the same, okay? Yeah, I'm actually a very controlled bettor. I don't fly off the handle.
Hey, the dogs even you're hurting the dog's ears with that talk, Bob. She's even back here growing.
Let's go to NFL draft. I don't want to talk to you guys about NBA anymore. I'm done with it. All right, NFL draft. Now I got to tell you guys this. All right, last night the top there was a bet, a boost in DraftKings for the top 3 picks, which was Walker, Hutchinson, and Stingley Jr. And that's exactly what hit. I won money there, and over 7.5 offensive linemen picked in the first round. And I won there too. Now, there was a bet for over 12.5 SEC players. I did not bet that one. I think that one lost, didn't it?
No, it went over because Georgia had 5 alone. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I know the Big Ten had a lot too, guys.
Did they?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
They had the Michigan, the 2 Ohio State guys.
You had the Purdue player. There was a Penn State player.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So who wins the battle of the conferences there? It's pretty close between the Big Ten and the SEC, but the SEC is always wins out because
SEC had like double the picks. SEC pisses on the Big Ten. Sorry, Randall.
Oh, Randall's a Michigan fan anyway. All right. So any surprises? Hold on. I got a comment here. Charles Post. Hey, Dotson.
Whoa, that's my dad. Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Hey, all right. You know what, Charlie? I'll give you my email and let's talk about your kid here. All right. So, any surprises, Mike?
I mean, you had the trades. Those were kind of the big surprises, obviously, and you had Philadelphia making moves. You had Arizona picking up Marquise Brown. So obviously, you wonder what that's going to do for them. A guy that can stretch the field to add along with what I consider some good receivers already. Although DeAndre Hopkins, health is always the problem if he can stay available.
What'd your Chargers do? What'd your Chargers do?
What my Chargers do, man? We drafted that offensive lineman from Boston College.
You don't even know his name.
Yeah, I do. It's hold on, Zion Johnson.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Zion Williamson.
No. Although he could, no, he wouldn't last. He wouldn't last. He can't stay healthy anywhere.
So did anybody on the first day the Pittsburgh pick? That was pretty obvious what was going to happen there. Can Tomlin mold this kid into the kind of quarterback that he needs? Steve?
I don't think so. I mean, it was such a bad quarterback class, but what I think may have happened was I think they have such regret over passing on Marino that I think the owners just said, like, we have to take a shot on this guy because I mean, not that they're remotely in the same class, but no, I think that legitimately had something to do with it. I mean, you saw Hutchinson, he stayed home in Michigan. That was actually one of my bets. That was such easy money. I mean, that was minus 165, and that was almost a sure thing. But yeah, I mean, I think the biggest surprise was the New England picking a D2 kid out of Chattanooga. That was ridiculous. I mean, I think Belichick and LeBron are two of the best to ever do it, but they might be two of the worst GMs to ever do it.
I don't know. Let me ask you this. Now, I don't like Bill Belichick, all right, at all. I never have, okay? But how can you argue with the guy? He's always stockpiling picks, and he always finds diamonds in the rough, man. He finds Pro Bowlers, linebackers at like 5th or 6th round, man. I mean, how can you say that about him?
No, I mean, whatever. And that's why, these draft ratings are the stupidest things ever, because how can you grade a draft based on your opinion? And what makes these draft experts think they know more than the coaches,
Right.
So the whole idea, and that's why the whole draft, Nick thing is a joke, because, I mean, how can these guys possibly know more? And, you can't grade a draft, or what I keep saying that, grade a draft until at least a year or two after. So, I mean, it's all speculation at this point. It's fun to speculate. People love the NFL. They miss it. They love to bet it. It's obviously the king of betting when it comes to any sport. But, yeah, I mean, whatever. I'm a Titans fan. I was not happy whatsoever that they traded A.J. Brown.
I don't
the Titans are almost punting on the season now. I mean,
yes.
I really feel like Brown was maybe I thought he had legitimately had the ability to be the best receiver in the league. His ability after the catch is insane. And now he's going from Tannehill, who admittedly is probably a bottom half quarterback, to maybe the worst quarterback. So he can't be thrilled to be going from, Tannehill to Hurts, who can barely even throw the ball without skipping it off the ground. So
Charles Post, nothing but amazing.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mike, are you surprised that Carolina didn't move around to try to get themselves a quarterback? Are they playing football this year, or what are they doing? They're playing for next year?
They stayed where they were at, and they got what was the best available, I feel like. I think they were, smart with what they did. Look, there was no quarterback in this draft that was worth trading up for and going all in for. So I think Carolina just let everything play out ahead of them and decided, you know what, we're going to go ahead and take the best available option. And I mean, let's face it, Bob, it's never a bad idea to draft offensive linemen, is it?
No, I don't disagree with that. You need to stockpile as many of them as they can. Get some Richie Incognitos in there. So Mike, uh, former Ram player. So Mike, all the wide receivers that were picked, and there were quite a few in the first round. Which one do you think went to the best place that can showcase their talent?
Ooh, I feel like, I'm really high on Drake London, and the problem there is who's going to throw him the ball, right?
Right.
So I'm worried
Mariota,
about
baby.
that. I would say probably Treylon Burks, just because look at what Tennessee already has. I know Tannehill's a bad quarterback, but I mean, A.J. Brown was able to put up numbers there, and they've got Derrick Henry, who's going to carry enough load to where I think that Treylon Burks can get some production. But who I think the best, I think Drake London's the best. I think Drake London's going to be like a Mike Evans type. I think he's going to be that type of receiver, and I think that he's the best receiver in this draft, in my opinion.
Okay, would you agree with that? And any thoughts on the wide
But
receiver?
they're all pretty good, though. Olave,
Yeah.
I mean, they're all
Steve?
pretty good.
Yeah.
Steve,
I mean,
any thoughts on that?
no, I mean, I bet London to be the first receiver picked at plus 225, but only because like every draft had him at 8, and like the odds didn't adjust, so that was like an easy call. But I mean, my problem with him is like, he does have the size for sure, and like when he was drafted, they showed a comparison of him to who was the guy from the Chargers, that big.
Is it Malcolm Floyd or Vincent Jackson?
Yeah, Vincent Jackson. But the problem is like, Vincent Jackson. So I think he's similar to him, but Vincent Jackson was fast too. Drake London doesn't have the speed to get separation. So, I mean, the guy who I like the most is the guy who the Saints traded up for, Chris Olave, the Buckeye.
Yeah.
He was an absolute stud. I mean, I'll never forget that game against Clemson where he was playing against, other pros, and he just absolutely torched them. I think with Jameis and with Peyton and with Mike Thomas, who's going to be back on the other side, that's going to be scary. I mean, they traded up for a reason. They gave up their other first-round pick for a reason to make that trade.
Right.
And, I think he's obviously Garrett Wilson, the other Buckeye, he went a little bit higher to the Jets. The Jets are going to be nasty in a few years if this draft pans out, which sounds ridiculous to say, especially if Zach Wilson can, live up to his first-round billing. But, for this year, I think Olave, draft him in your fantasy drafts, and I wouldn't be surprised if he puts up some big numbers.
Cool. Now that's the kind of stuff I like hearing. Fantasy. All right. Look, guys, it's time for the closing line. And I'm going to start it off here, as always. And it's going to have a tint towards the teams that I root for, but I don't really care whether you like it or not, okay? I'm hosting the show, and too bad if you don't like it. All right. So it has to do with Major League Baseball and the fact that there are pitchers around the league that are complaining about not being able to grip the ball, to the point that some of them are saying it's like gripping a cue ball. So you're trying to throw 98 miles an hour. You have this problem. Now Major League Baseball is working on a substance that is a combination of rosin and whatever that's going to be legal. Who in the hell cares? Let them dip their hands in whatever they want to, as long as 100-mile-an-hour fastball is not going at a guy's head, you morons. I mean, Jesus Christ, what is the matter with you? Fix the problem. Quit messing with the baseball, okay? Make a baseball, and let's have the same baseball all the time. Let's quit screwing around. Guys are getting hurt. Pete Alonso's wanting to put somebody in the hospital. Nolan Arenado wants to whip somebody's butt, and probably could. It's getting ridiculous. And the Mets got hit again last night. It seems like they're getting hit all the time. Guy's winding up. He's throwing as hard as he can, and the ball slips out of his hand and hits a guy, in the helmet or something like that. Fix your problems, baseball. Mike, it's your closing line.
Yeah, Bob. I think that looking at the NFL draft, we were talking about Drake London. I liked him a lot. The reason I think that he is going to have, if Atlanta can get a quarterback look at what they're going to have with London and Kyle Pitts. I mean, who, in my opinion, is the best tight end up and coming and going to be at some point in the NFL. I think, and he can block too. So I love the combination of those two. And I think Atlanta, losing Julio Jones, they trade away Matt Ryan. You think, man, Atlanta's going to be, in a bad spot. But I think that in years to come, Atlanta will be a lot more competitive. And I think this combination of Pitts and London can be deadly.
Okay. All right, Steve, it's your turn. Your closing line. By the way, where in the hell are you?
I'm in a new city in Mexico, Playa del Carmen.
You're back in Mexico again?
Well, I've stayed. Last week I was moving. So I'm it's still in the same, I guess, city or the same region as Cancun. So it's called Quintana Roo, but it's about an hour to the east. It's like a nice little chill city. It's my favorite place.
Are you going to raise a family there?
Nope. I'll be back to the U.S. in July. So
a
few more months here.
All right. So give me your closing line.
My closing line. Last night we saw it. Mavs closed out the Jazz on the road. Sixers closed out Raptors on the road. Tonight, history repeats itself, baby. Memphis, money line, close them out on the road, take them, and don't be shocked when they give the Warriors all they can handle in the next series. I think
I believe that.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's another team, the Warriors, one of the sexy picks, Warriors, Suns. Hey, Memphis, baby, I'm with you. Ride them tonight.
Yep.
There you go. I got to reuse that music. Don't forget to fill out the form below in the description. Get a personal one-on-one tutorial on how to make $2,500 plus a month sports betting. Best bet on the Timberwolves and the Grizzlies. There's a link for that down there. We're OddsJam TV. Somebody, Kappa Warrior. An hour east of Cancun. Isn't that the ocean?
That is right. He is the NBA guru. Yes. Steve is the NBA guru. Yes, sir.
Man. Hey, Charles, don't. That's my brother's name. Don't stroke this guy's ego. Don't tell him what he's
facts
doing.
are facts.
That's
facts
right.
are facts, Bob.
Well, don't tell him what he's doing.